Hey YouTube, it's Unger to the Max here, and this is a follow-up, essentially, on the latest video I just uploaded, like a few minutes ago. So, if you haven't watched it yet, go do that. Essentially, it's me announcing that next week, I'm going to be bringing a fellow YouTuber onto my show to preview Week 1 of the Cleveland Browns season. Now, in the past, I've been a guest on other YouTubers' channels, such as Norbcam, who is a Seattle Seahawks YouTuber, Gangrene David, New York Jets YouTuber, and Engraven Vids, Baltimore Ravens YouTuber. But I have never hosted them on my YouTube channel. Well, guess what? That's all changing starting next week, because for Week 1 of the NFL season, the Cleveland Browns are going on the road to take on Lamar Jackson, the reigning NFL MVP, and the defending AFC North champion, Baltimore Ravens, at M&T Bank Stadium in the Charm City, Baltimore, Maryland. And because of that, there was only one YouTuber I could reach out to and say, hey, do you want to do a video collaboration? And that's Engraven Vids. He is a huge Baltimore Ravens fan. When I've watched his videos in the past, his walls are just covered in Baltimore Ravens stuff, and I absolutely love it. You can see my walls are a little bit more variety, but all these posters that you see behind me that are Cleveland Browns, those are game posters that I got at First Energy Stadium last season for all 8 home games. So yeah, I like to collect those. And it's important for me to do a video with Engraven Vids, because the last time I did a video with him was in Week 17 of the 2018 season when the Browns were at the Ravens. And that was the first time the Browns had ever lost when I've done a video collaboration with a fellow YouTuber. The Browns had not lost up to that point. So I need to avenge that loss. Of course, the Browns would lose in Week 6 to the Seattle Seahawks when I did a video collaboration with Norbcam. But we won't be able to avenge that loss for another 4 years. So we'll have to wait a little bit on that. But, like I said, this is going to be the first time I've hosted a video collaboration like this on my YouTube channel. And my goal, as I've said countless times, is for every single one of the Browns' opponents this season, I want to do a video collaboration. Right in order. Now, I'm all set up to do a video collaboration with Engraven Vids for Week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm talking to a Cincinnati Bengals YouTuber because the Browns' home opener is on Thursday Night Football against Cincinnati. There is a Washington YouTuber that I'm talking to. I'm not having gotten a definitive answer. And I've reached out to a Cowboys fan about doing a video collaboration for Week 4. Still have to work on the others. The Colts, Steelers, Jaguars, Titans, Texans, Eagles, Giants, Raiders. I'm going to reach out to Gangrene David for when we do when the Browns play the Jets. But yeah. But this isn't just a channel announcements video. No. I've got some actual stuff to talk about. So let's get into it, shall we? First of all, I said that I was taking a little bit of a break from the WWE. Well, I thought I could stay away from WWE for like a couple weeks, maybe a month. No, it literally only lasted 1 week, because now I'm right back to watching the WWE. Primarily Friday Night SmackDown, because I just think the storylines are better on SmackDown than they are on Monday Night Raw. The only interesting storyline with Monday Night Raw anymore is what's happening with Randy Orton. The Seth Rollins and Mytserio Family storyline has been going on for 3 or 4 months now. And I'm just like, can you please drop this storyline already? It's not entertaining anymore. It's lost its steam. And here's my other big problem. With this feud, the WWE has been doing a lot of 50-50 bookings lately. On Sunday at Payback, in a tag team match between Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio against the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, and his I forget what the word is, and his sidekick. Don't call him Buddy Murphy, because he just goes by Murphy now, which I don't understand. The Mysterios won. But then last night on Raw, in a singles match to determine who would go to the triple threat match to see who would be the number one contender to face Drew McIntyre at Clash of Champions on September 27th, Seth Rollins won. Oh, disciple was the word I was looking for before. There we go. And I'm just like, what? Why? This makes no sense. Now, it was originally supposed to be Rey Mysterio against Seth Rollins in that match last night. But I guess Rey Mysterio got legitimately hurt in the tag team match on Sunday in the pay-per-view, so Dominic Mysterio had to step in. So of course it makes sense that Seth Rollins won, but at the same time it's again, I'm just not interested anymore. And another thing with Seth Rollins, I don't know how much longer he can keep going with this whole Monday Night Messiah gimmick. Because think about it. He was in a feud with Kevin Owens, right? But what happened? It gets to WrestleMania 36, and Kevin Owens won. Next, Rollins gets into a feud with Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. They get to the pay-per-view. Money in the Bank. What happens? Drew McIntyre wins and retains the championship. And now he's in a feud with the Mysterios. Now Seth won at the horror show at Extreme Rules in the Eye for an Eye match. And then Rollins won at SummerSlam against Dominic Mysterio. But that's now 4 straight pay-per-views that we've had a match between Seth Rollins and a Mysterio. Again, because we had the Eye for an Eye match at Extreme Rules, the horror show. Let's see. Or 3 straight, I should say. Because then we had SummerSlam, which was Dominic Mysterio against Seth Rollins. And then at Payback, we had Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio teaming up to take on Seth Rollins and his disciple, Buddy Murphy. Although, again, he just goes by Murphy. So, think about it. Seth Rollins is going around going, oh, all this is for the greater good, and, we're trying to change Monday Night Raw and all this and that. But in the meantime, in your 3 major feuds, you haven't come out being the victor in any of them. You've ultimately lost in all 3 major feuds you've been in. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right that he's still the Monday Night Messiah and going with this whole greater good idea when like I said, he lost in his feud to Kevin Owens. He lost in his feud to Drew McIntyre. And, you know, he's in this really lengthy feud with the Mysterios. It just doesn't make sense. But I do like Seth Rollins as a heel. I think him as a heel works better, but I'd like to see WWE change his character to something else besides the Monday Night Messiah, but keep him as a heel. Okay? Do you get that? Like, keep Seth as a heel, but just change his character. Because, again, I just think this whole Monday Night Messiah gimmick has lost its momentum, its steam, whatever you want to say. Now, I watched Monday Night Raw last night. And what was interesting was, like I said, they had a triple threat match to determine who would be the number one contender and face Drew McIntyre, if he's healthy, at Clash of Champions on September 27th for the WWE Championship. And ultimately, Randy Orton won. But here's the thing. Here's how the finish went down. You ready for this? Keith Lee, who beat Dolph Ziggler in a qualifying match, which, why the hell was Dolph Ziggler in that match? He lost to Drew McIntyre twice for the WWE Championship, and then he's had mixed results on Raw Underground. So you tell me why Dolph Ziggler was in that match. Anyway, so Keith Lee hits the powerbomb, or spirit powerbomb, I should say, on Seth Rollins, and it looked like he was about to get the pin and move on to Clash of Champions. But then, Randy Orton, as he typically does, comes out of nowhere, hits the RKO on Keith Lee, but instead of pinning Keith, Randy goes over to Seth Rollins and pins him for the victory. Which, I like that, because you're not hurting Keith Lee's stock in any way. And throughout the match, Keith Lee was able to hang with Randy Orton and Seth Rollins, showing that he's not just some mid-card guy. He can be a top-of-the-card, main roster dude and hang with the big boys. I would like to actually see Seth Rollins feud with Keith Lee, but again, don't do it. Keep Seth Rollins as a heel, but drop the Monday Night Messiah gimmick. Make him a heel in a different way. I don't know how. I don't know the best way to do that, but somehow transition him from Monday Night Messiah to some other type of heel. You know. So that's my little shtick, if you will, about WWE. So, last night was game 1 of the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. And the whole time I was in my man cave watching this game, I was going, "Let's go Heat! Let's go Heat! Let's go Heat!" Now, you might be thinking, dude, you're a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. You have all this Cavs stuff on your wall. Hold on. The Cleveland Cavaliers are my number 1 team in all of the NBA and all of sports. I will not root for anybody even if the Clippers are playing the Cavaliers, and the Clippers are my favorite team in the Western Conference, by the way. I made a little error when I said the Mavericks were my favorite team in the Western Conference. I meant to say the Clippers. Believe me, I did. And that's because when I was really little, I got a tour of the Clippers locker room. I got to try on, like, Elton Brand's shoes and I think Corey Maggetti's, like, practice pants or something. I don't know. And it was just a lot of fun. And thus I became a Clippers fan. But the reason I love the Miami Heat is because Dwayne Wade is one of my favorite players of all time. Shaquille O'Neal, is also one of my favorite players of all time. But the main reason is because American Airlines Arena was my first arena that I visited outside of Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, which was called Quicken Loans Arena, which before that was Gund Arena, and before Gund Arena, the Cavaliers played in Richfield Coliseum. Anyway, so that's why I love the Miami Heat. But I will never root for the Heat when they are playing the Cleveland Cavaliers. Never. Even if I were to move to, say, Chicago, I would never start rooting for the Chicago Bulls over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Never. Never. It's the same with the Browns. I will never root for another team if they're playing the Cleveland Browns. Never. I won't do it. Nope. I am a diehard Cleveland Browns fan. The only exception to that rule is with baseball. Because I do love the Cleveland Indians. They're my favorite team in the American League. But my favorite team in all baseball are... Hold on. Ta-da! The Chicago Cubs! So, sorry, but when the Cubs were playing the Indians in the World Series, was unfortunately for Indians fans, I was rooting for the Cubs. So, yeah. But that's why I love the Miami Heat, okay? But again, I will never root for any other team when they are playing the Cavaliers. Even if I consider them to be one of my favorites, like the Boston Celtics. I love the Boston Celtics. They're my favorite team in their respective division. Because Paul Pierce is one of my favorite players of all time. Actually, he is my favorite player of all time. In the NBA, I mean. Although I don't have a Paul Pierce jersey, which is weird. I need to get one. That would be cool if he somehow signed it. Who knows? Maybe I'll get to meet him someday. Anyway, though. So, yeah. I'm hoping that we get a Miami against Boston Eastern Conference Finals. Because that would be such a good series. You have, not that a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals between Milwaukee and Toronto wouldn't be a good matchup. Because it certainly would be. But I just feel like having two new teams to the mix, like Boston and Miami, would just be a breath of fresh air. Now I get it. Boston was in the Eastern Conference in 2018 and 2017, where both times they got eliminated by the Cleveland Cavaliers. I still say Boston should have won that series in 2018 against us in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's not to say Boston would have beaten the Warriors in the NBA Finals, but I think the Celtics could have at least made it interesting. Think about it. You would have had Terry Rozier against Stephen Curry, which Terry Rozier isn't the caliber of a Kyrie Irving, so it wouldn't have had as great of a matchup at that point guard position. But Rozier can play decent defense, and who knows, he could have made life at least challenging for Steph Curry. Then, at the shooting guard, you would have had Jaylen Brown against Klay Thompson, which both guys are excellent defenders, I would say, and both can score at will, it seems like. And then at the small forward, you would have had Jason Tatum against Kevin Durant, which that would have been an excellent matchup. Kevin Durant is at the top tier of players currently in the NBA. I would put Giannis in there. I would put Kawhi. I would put LeBron, Anthony Davis, and James Harden in that mix as well. But Jason Tatum is like a tier below them. But Jason Tatum is still an all-star on the verge of being a superstar, without a doubt. So I just think that would have been an excellent NBA Finals. And it wouldn't have resulted in a sweep. I think Boston could have pushed the Warriors to a minimum, I think, of 6 games. Now, I might be a little bit crazy, but whatever. Obviously, in the Western Conference, I think it's going to be the Lakers against the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. I think that's what we're all hoping for. But if Denver does come back from a 3-1 deficit to beat Utah, which that Game 7 goes down tonight, do not miss it. Because Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell have been putting on an absolute show. I mean, come on. They've traded 50-point games in this series. Let me say that again. Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell have traded 50-point games in this series. But the problem with Utah is essentially all they have is Donovan Mitchell. Sure, Mike Conley can score from time to time. And sure, Rudy Gobert can play defense and cause problems. I mean, he's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. But essentially, if you can slow down Donovan Mitchell, you can slow down Utah and you have a chance to beat them. That's not the case with Denver. Because the Nuggets have Nikola Jokic, they have Jamal Murray, Torrey Craig, Paul Millsap, if he ever actually shows up in the bubble. Gary Harris, I believe, is back from injury. Obviously, they have Joey. I almost said Joey. Who the heck is Joey Porter? He played for the Steelers. I think he was a running back. No, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter. And don't forget Torrey Craig. So Denver has a lot more. And the winner of that series plays the Clippers in the second round. Denver against the Clippers would be a much more interesting matchup than the Clippers against Utah. Now, do I think Denver would have enough to beat the Clippers? No, but I think Denver could push the Clippers to 6 games. Actually, no. I think Denver and the Clippers, if they match up, will go the full 7 games. I am saying it right now. Denver and the Clippers, if that is the second round matchup, will go the full 7 games. Now we have another Game 7. The Rockets against the Thunder. I think Oklahoma City is going to win that series, and face the Lakers. Now, Lakers against OKC might not have the same ring to it as the small ball Houston Rockets going up against the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But don't sleep on Oklahoma City. They are a decent team. They've got Danilo Gallinari, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yes, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went to OKC as part of the Paul George trade. Okay, I had to think about that for a minute. They have Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, Steven Adams, the guy who's, I can't remember his name, but he's primarily been guarding James Harden this series. I want to say his name is Lou something. Hold on, let me check. What was his name? Just looking it up super quick. Yeah, Lou Dort is his name. And he's decent on defense. So the Thunder would probably put him on LeBron. That could be a decent matchup. Again, I think the Lakers would win, most likely in 5 or 6 games. But yeah, I'm not picking an upset. I'm not going to be as crazy as Charles Barkley, who stupidly picked the Trailblazers to sweep the Lakers. Don't know what the hell he was thinking. Yeah. So, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, punch that subscribe button like a UFC fighter. And punch that like button. Until next time, this is Unger to the Max, signing off. See you later.